Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to today's success story session. So today we have with us Mr. Ajay who has cleared the PFRDA Grade A 2022 and we are here to know his strategy. He has a detailed strategy to tell you. Especially he is also going to show his notes and I have seen them and they are awesome. Okay, so you should understand from him that how he was able to clear PFRDA Grade A, how he was able to make such awesome notes. And first of all, congratulations to you, sir.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. And hello, everyone. And thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity to interact with the fellow aspirants. I hope, ma'am, our discussion will be helpful for them.
Surely. And now starting with before going to the strategy and the notes, tell us about your educational background.
Yes, ma'am. So I did my BTech in mechanical engineering from NIT Trichy. After that, I did my PGDM or MBA from IIM Calcutta. I got campus placement from there at ICICI Bank, where I worked at their Mumbai and Delhi locations in debt syndication and corporate banking group. Ma'am, after that, I joined Cognizant as a consultant in their banking and financial services domain, where I worked in a project of having, credit risk models implementation for Basel capital regulations. And currently, I'm working for one of the multilateral development institutions.
Okay,
Uh,
this all seems so interesting. So how you were working in such prestigious and important organizations, I can say. So how you came to this government job cycle, we can say.
Yes, ma'am. So, when we think about government job, the perception that comes is, ओके आराम की नौकरी होगी और कुछ नहीं करना होगा इस तरह से परसेप्शन बिल्ड है मैम बट द थिंग विद दीज रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज इट इज नॉट truly what we think about government jobs, but it is a bit better when it comes in terms of quality. Also, ma'am, I did my summer internship at Export Import Bank of India,
Okay.
and I really liked their work, their work culture, happy faces. So it's like they were working, but they also have good work life balance. Everything was fine. So and similar is the case with RBI, SEBI, PFRD, all these regulatory bodies. They have good quality work as well as good quality work-life balance. So and also they have a good salary structure as well. So if we combine all this, it's a good place to go for.
So it is like in the terms of growth, in the terms of salary structure, and in the term in those terms, it is as similar to as private sector, but in terms of work-life balance, we can say it is better.
It is better, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how many government exams have you given before PFRDA?
Yes, ma'am. So in 2021, I appeared for RBI Grade B examination. Although I did not prepare so well, so I qualified prelims. I appeared for mains. After that, ma'am, I didn't prepare for 5-6 months for any examination. Then, ma'am, then SEBI notification was out. I thought of preparing for SEBI, and whatever time I had from my work, I thought of devoting it, and it became really hectic, ma'am. Because I didn't have I didn't study Companies Act or all those things before. So once SEBI was done, once SEBI interview was over, for 1 or 2 months, I did not study anything. But after that, PFRD notification came, and since syllabus was similar to SEBI, and all perks, allowances, everything is similar to SEBI. So I thought of giving it a try because I already had the knowledge of the syllabus uh, uh, due to my SEBI experience. So I prepared for PFRD and finally got it.
So like in SEBI, in your first attempt, you were able to reach till the stage of interview, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And in PFRDA first attempt, you were able to clear it.
Ma'am.
That is really nice. So now I
And
think
actually, for these exams, it's like if it is approached properly, then it should not take too much time. If approach is on the right direction, then it should be fine. I mean, it can be cleared in first attempt.
okay. So and what was your family's reaction when they came to know, okay, you have cleared PFRDA grade A? So means they have already seen you successful, like you are working fine and you are doing good. But how was their reaction?
And so my way is different. So, ma'am, I don't tell people about the exams that I'm preparing for. So even my parents were not aware that I'm giving this PFRDA examination. So what PFRDA did is they sent the hard copy of interview call letter to my home address, and they started asking me what is this. So, ma'am, this I will recommend to people around that if you are preparing for some exams, don't talk about it to a lot of people. I mean, okay, you can tell this to your family, but don't tell this to a lot of people. Otherwise, they will ask. I mean, people have expectations, and there are many things that comes in. So and also it might distract you, so better keep it confined to limited set of people.
True.
That's what I do, ma'am. And once the results were out, they were very happy. And
Okay.
to my extended family, since they were not aware, so they were asking me that what is it? We were not aware about it, so I had to tell them.
Okay. Now, you said that you were preparing for SEBI and PFRDA while you were working. So, how you were able to maintain that work-life balance, which is quite hard to maintain?
Yes, ma'am. So obviously, ma'am, actually, since my projects are US based, so the
Hmm.
work typically starts at 1 o'clock and it goes till 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So, ma'am, I try to find time after 10. So maybe, from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, I'll study.
Okay.
And then in the morning at 8 o'clock, from 8 o'clock till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. So, I mean, this much time is there. And
Hmm.
also, ma'am, it is work from home at this point of time for me.
Okay.
So it also saves time. So around in a day, after working for 8 to 10 hours, I try to give 5 6 hours to my studies. I
Yes.
used to give.
Yes.
And
And hmm,
yes, ma'am, and that is fine, I think, if it is done on a consistent basis. And
true.
weekends are there for us
Yes.
to do.
So we can say like you were working for 8 hours approximately, and still you were able to take out like 5 6 hours, or even 4 hours would be good enough for a working aspirant
Correct, ma'am, correct, correct.
to study. So that much they have to take out on, like you talked about consistency. So daily they have to take out that much time, and that will be fine if they are consistent and dedicated enough. So now I think we can move towards the strategy part. So starting with the phase one, paper one. Now, paper
Yes, ma'am.
one is like only 30% you have to take out, but still I get many queries, many calls that GA kaise hoga, kya kya padna hai. So, what was your approach and what you will suggest to the aspirants for the
Ma'am,
PFRDA
so
SEBI?
from I will suggest that if you are very weak in quant, I mean, if you haven't studied quant before, then you should study some topics like profit or loss percentage so that you can at least score something. Similar is the case with reasoning. Okay, don't go with the puzzles, but other areas like syllogism, inequality, all those topics, so that you can score something. And English section is very easy, ma'am. In IBPS
Mhm.
examination, in all examinations, the English part is easy. And for current affairs, you can go for 1.5 months of current affairs. That should be fine.
Hmm.
Also, in GA also they will ask some finance questions, finance, current affairs, all that. So, ma'am, getting 30% is very easy. I mean, I did not prepare anything for this, but still, it was good. So, you should not bother about it unless you are very, very weak in quant and you are not able to solve simple questions. Then you should practice a bit. But I think majority of people have some basics, so that should be fine. That should not be a problem.
Can we say that do two subjects out of four or three subjects out of four? So, what
Yes, ma'am.
is
Yes,
your
ma'am.
take?
Yes, ma'am. Suppose if someone is weak in quant or reasoning, then current affair will save you. Current affair and English will save you. But ma'am, I don't think, ma'am, someone will be that weak in quant and reasoning. I mean, getting 30% is easy. I don't think it should be a challenge.
So
Uh,
they should not stress too much on the paper one, because I get like they are making notes of general awareness, and that means they are good in quant. When I talk to them, they are good in English, quant, reasoning, and still they are preparing for GK. So I try to tell them that it is not required. You shouldn't be worried about that. So I think
ma'am, so
you have.
actually, even for making notes for GA, so for example, I refer Affairs Cloud sometimes. So
Hmm,
what you can do is you can open that Affairs Cloud 19-page document, 20-page document PDF, which is the content PDF on a daily basis.
hmm,
So suppose if you read a news article, just copy and paste the important ones on MS Word, and that entire 19-page document will come up in 2 3 pages.
hmm,
And that and then after that, you don't have to go to the Affairs Cloud. You can just
hmm.
refer to that MS Word, the file that you have created for 1.5 months. So in first time you will take 10 minutes to revise. Next time you will take 5 minutes, then 2 minutes. So it will reduce. So in that way, current affairs can be approached.
True. Yes, but they shouldn't be stressing so much on any particular subject
Correct,
if they
ma'am.
are
Correct,
good in
correct,
other three or other two. So
correct,
now
ma'am.
I think we can move forward with the paper two. So in phase one, what was your approach for the paper two? Like it has seven subjects, right? So
Yes, ma'am.
like which subjects have you already read, and what were the new subjects for you?
So pension sector was new for me, ma'am. I did not study pension sector before. Other than that, because of SEBI, I had the knowledge of all the subjects. But ma'am, in this exam, I tried to go deeper into accounting standards or no cost accounting, all that. So ma'am, it's not like I bifurcated paper one and paper two. I thought of, I have to give phase two, and from that angle only I was preparing. It's not that I thought that paper one will be easier, so I should pick the easier topics first and once phase 1 is over, then I will prepare for phase 2. I did not do that. I thought, ma'am, that phase 2 is the only exam that I have to prepare for, because phase 1 is, just we have to just qualify the minimum cutoff that they have. So that this is how I approached this exam, ma'am.
Okay. And what were your sources for the paper 2, the seven subjects?
Yes, ma'am. So for majority of the, so I mean, apart from pension sector, ma'am, for all the subjects, I referred EduTap as well as ICI modules, and for pension sector, EduTap and some YouTube videos.
Okay.
This is what I did for all the subjects.
And were you like satisfied and you were focusing on that much only? Usually the students have this perception ना कि 2-3 जगह से करते हैं, 4-5 जगह से करते हैं. They try to find material
Actually,
like too
yes,
much.
yes. So, ma'am, here I will try to add one thing. जैसे मान लीजिए मैम, कोई चैप्टर उठाते हैं, अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड फॉर फॉरेन एक्सचेंज ट्रांजैक्शन. नाउ EduTap has sectional tests. Okay, so once we cover the PPTs or summary sheet which you have started adding, then after that, we after covering it, we can go and attempt the sectional test. Now if you have covered this much, ma'am, this is enough to clear the examination. If after covering this you can go to other sources, but at least try to cover this, because it's not that EduTap course is, very simple to do. It is also huge. It also takes lot of time. So, but one thing I can confidently say that, ma'am, your content is, probably the best in the market. So people can rely on EduTap to clear the examination. That is for sure. And after EduTap, you can go to ICI module. So for example, there is a chapter on introduction to cost accounting, which is very important. And IBPS asks questions. I think, they open that PDF of ICI and then they pick questions from there. So in that way you can do, but first of all, cover one source, cover EduTap, and then you can try to, diversify your sources, reliable sources like ICI, as I mentioned. So
True.
this is a good approach.
So you should have one main source that you should focus on. Then you can have the subsidiary kind of like additional source that you can have, but you shouldn't jumble in between many sources, because otherwise you will be stuck in one concept only.
And ma'am, also, ma'am, we don't have so much time that, we are studying from here and then again we are going and studying from there. So time is limited, and our sources should also be limited, and also the sources should be reliable. It's not that you are studying anything.
Okay. So now I think we have talked about the sources also. Like now coming to the quantitative type of questions. So what, like in accounts especially, we have that numerical question, sorry. So how you were like, how tough they are, because usually the students are afraid when it comes to the numerical questions. So in what subjects do you get the numerical questions and how typical they are?
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, first of all, try to understand the nature of the examination. So, ma'am, they ask 50 questions in 40 minutes. Okay, so it's not that they will ask bulky numericals. Numericals will be simple, but they will be conceptual. So we have to, we don't have to practice numericals which are very bulky, which are given in ICI modules. So numericals that EduTap provide in their course, for example, they are, perfect. I mean, that's how, paper is framed by IBPS. Now, uh, uh, so this is how it should be done. And what else you ask, ma'am?
Yes. So numerical questions, can you tell that in which subjects
Yeah,
the
correct, correct.
numericals come from?
Yes, ma'am. So subjects will be ratio analysis, very important. I think the most important part from accounting. And then cash flow statement, from there they can ask. Accounting standards से question पूछ सकते हैं, जैसे AS accounting standard for foreign exchange transaction, they are asking every year in every examination they are asking it. Accounting standard for property, plant and equipment, inventories, and accounting and शेयर कैपिटल ट्रांजैक्शन, एक चैप्टर में अकाउंटिंग फॉर शेयर कैपिटल ट्रांजैक्शन, वो भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, वहां से भी दे आर आस्किंग क्वेश्चन. सो दीज आर द न्यूमेरिकल oriented subjects.
And from costing, like you have told,
Yes, ma'am.
from management finance, are there any numericals?
No, ma'am. From management and finance, there are no numericals, but in costing, they generally ask from marginal costing, standard costing, budget, and budgetary control. These are three very important chapters for in costing for numericals.
Okay. And from economics?
Economics, ma'am, I didn't find any numerical. Once I think somewhere I saw demand is equal to supply, so that was very simple. Otherwise, there is no numerical in economics, I think.
Okay. So that is good, I think. It's, like they should only focus on the first, like measurement of national income chapter. Even if the numerical comes, it
Yes,
will
ma'am.
come from there only.
Ma'am,
Otherwise, they will be
ma'am,
minimal.
it's like, ma'am, it is not difficult to do. I mean, if we
Mm,
have studied national income, it is just
yeah.
applying formula. So it's not that we have to do something, different to cover numericals if it is asked from this topic. It is very easy.
Yes, true. So now I think we have talked on the overall basis. In the phase two segment, again, we will talk about this and we will go in depth also. So now I think we are covered for the phase one. Coming to the phase two, starting with the descriptive part. So like English descriptive. So how like you prepare for that, or you thought that I will be able to do that and you didn't prepare for that?
So actually, ma'am, the thing with English descriptive is, ma'am, I always get good marks. I don't know. I mean, I never practice anything, ma'am, neither Prezi nor essay, anything. But in RBI Grade B, I got 67. In SEBI, I got 66. So I have this impression that, okay, whatever way I write, IBPS is giving me good marks. So, don't change it. But ma'am, there is one thing that I would like to tell people, which coaching institutes say, but it may not be true. And it is related to RC. So, I saw some videos where people are saying that for 10 marks, you should write 80 words. So if the total RC is of 40 marks, so it means we should write 320 words. But ma'am, I never write more than 200 to 220 words. So it's like the more we write, the higher are the chances of making mistakes.
Mm,
So if essay is written in 200 220 sorry, if RC is written in 200 220 words without spelling mistake, grammatical mistake, you have answered all the questions, then it should be fine. We
true.
don't need to write 350 words. Otherwise, if you're writing too much, then you might make mistakes which will cost you.
Yes. In essay, like there is the word limit or that is
Ma'am, see,
given.
ma'am, in essay we have to,
Mm,
consider the word limit. In Prezi we
mm,
have to consider the word
yeah.
limit, but not in RC.
Yeah.
Not in RC. In there we don't need to write 300 words. We can,
Yes.
confine it to 200, 220 words, and that should be fine.
Yes, yes. Like, yeah, like you said, like in essay pressy, there is word limit, but in RC, you just have to answer the question correctly, and that's it. So, in whatever word limit you are able to answer the question correctly with the least grammatical and spelling errors, that should be the best. And that you have to decide, like the RC that you are choosing. So, I think now we can, and you said that you didn't practice much for that. So, now coming to how was your pattern of writing? I also want to know that, like what were you writing, something, some tricks you were using or something like that?
And so I told you the tricks that people use, and I don't write too much.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't write too much because it the moment we start writing 300 350 word in RC, the chances of making mistakes will increase. Also, ma'am, see, there are two constraints. First is the time, and second
Hmm.
is the interface. So after writing, we have to also review what we have written. So if you are just focusing on writing and we are not reviewing it properly, then you are making a big mistake. So this is what I don't do. I write in limited words and I ensure that whatever I have written is correct. So this is how it is working for me.
And do you use tough vocabulary or just
No,
simple
ma'am, no,
day-to-day
no,
life?
no, ma'am, simple vocabulary, no tough vocabulary. But ma'am, the thing is, this time I wrote an essay on sustainable development goals.
Okay.
So, ma'am, the thing is, for essay, it's like whatever topic is coming, I am already aware about it. So I just try to complete it in 10, 12 minutes so that I am now free from essay, and then I can focus on Prezi and RC. So in essay, in IBPS, it is very predictable. So you
Hmm.
can prepare some topics. So in SEBI, I think I wrote on financial literacy, financial education, something like that. So there also I was aware about the topic. So in essay, if you're aware about the topic, you will be able to write faster and better. So this is
True.
what we can do in essay.
So what I can understand from what you said is like do not do grammatical errors or spelling mistake, recheck your answer, write less but good quality content, as well as like the last point that you said also, like use simple vocabulary that is easy to understand. Like do not do mistakes with the tough vocabulary. It usually you get confused and such. So I think now we can move to the paper two. And first of all, I would like you to show your notes to the students also, like they are able to understand that how good you were making your notes. Like I was quite impressed when I saw them. So kindly show that.
Uh, yeah. So uh, so for all the subjects, I used to write notes for different. So for example, I'll just try to show you. So for example, this is from economics. The chapter is consumption function, investment function. So this is how I used to write it. I write my notes. First of all, just look at it and then I'll tell you more about it. Now, so the thing is, in notes, there should be two things. First of all, it should be interesting that if you're writing it, you will come and read it again. Otherwise, what happens is, ma'am, we make the notes, but we think, okay, मतलब अच्छे से नहीं लिखा है, क्या उसको पढूं, फिर से source से ही पढ़ लेता हूँ. But if you have written it properly, then you know that, okay, now I have condensed it. Now I have to go there and study from there. That's it. And it should be holistic and it should be written in such a manner that it becomes easier for you to understand. So for example, ma'am, I'll just try to show you. This is from Companies Act. Okay, now chapter 4 of the Companies Act is considered to be the lengthiest. Okay, it starts from section 43 and it continues till section 72. So ma'am, this is how I wrote the entire section. So from here I started, and this is how I prepared the notes for this. If you can look at it, so it's not that I'm just copying it, I'm after reading it, I'm putting it in a simpler version by creating flow charts and arrows. So it helps me, ma'am, because it helps me to understand the topic also. So unless and until I am not understanding the topic, and I cannot put it in a simpler version, and it also helps in retention.
True. And I can see how neat and clean they are, that whenever you come to read it, you will be happy to read it and understand everything without any worry and confusion.
That's what I said, ma'am. It should be interesting. So
Yeah.
one of the way to make it is to make it clean. And ma'am, the best thing with SEBI or PFRDA is, ma'am, syllabus is static. So once you have prepared these notes, it is done and dusted. You just have to come here and study.
Yes.
And it helps a lot, ma'am, while revising and before the examination.
True.
So this is how I used to write. And also, so all those who are watching it can prepare, in a similar manner, or whatever way you choose. You don't need to, buy an Apple iPad or, Apple Pencil. Even
Yes.
you can use in pen and paper. You can make pen and paper notes, but make it in such a way that it becomes interesting and it is holistic.
True.
And this is, ma'am, this is for accounting. For example, say this is for so how I'm putting it, I'll just show you. So PP, first of all, I'm defining what is PP, okay, and then I'm defining what is recognition criteria. Then I'm writing what is included in cost of PP in a very simple way, and then what is not a part of cost of PP. So in this way, ma'am, if you look at it in 3-4 pages, the entire topic is done. So ma'am, it becomes very easy once we are revising it. So suppose, for example, after so I watched EduTap video. I read EduTap notes. I read ICI notes. Now I have enough knowledge. Now I can start making the notes. It will take some time, but it will help you a lot.
True. So now I think the students have watched this notes making, and they can understand that how good it is that once you have notes, it will be very easy to come and revise again and again, and it will be in your words. You will not have to go to the videos or the PPTs and like the lengthy stuff. So you do not have to go to that. Just come back to your notes, and once you have written it now, it will be very easier for you to understand. You will know that where you have written what thing. So that will be easier, faster.
The best thing is it helps in retention while you are writing. So ma'am, suppose I just studied a topic and then I close the book. But ma'am, after studying it, if I'm writing also, then it goes in our brain somewhere. So that also is there while making these notes. So it will help you a lot if you do it. I mean, it is a habit, ma'am. Some people are not able to do it. Some people are, but with me, ma'am, it's like I am able to remember only if I write properly. So this is how I approach it.
So we can say that during the phase 1, you were preparing for paper 2 and you were making notes like before that. And in the phase 2, you just revised through your notes, or did you do some other
No,
preparation also?
No, ma'am. So ma'am, it's like, it's not that entire notes and everything study
Hmm.
was complete before paper one.
Hmm.
In between paper one and paper two also, I studied new topics. So,
Okay.
for example, I remember accounting standard for foreign exchange transactions. Some topics in costing were left, so I had studied, properly after
Okay.
phase one. Also,
Okay.
pension sector, I read in a more detailed manner.
Okay. So before the phase one, you prepared well enough, but after phase two, like after phase one, you were preparing holistically. Now you do not want to leave any topic from which the questions can come because it can cost the position, right? So you were
Also,
preparing.
and also, ma'am, one more thing I would like to say. So, there are total 50 questions in the examination. So IBPS will deliberately, ask 4 5 questions out of the world. I mean, it won't be a part of syllabus, but it will be within the paper. But ma'am, in the remaining 45 questions, that becomes a game changer. So suppose if we leave a topic, if we leave a
Hmm.
subject, then we are missing out. So
Hmm.
in that 45 questions, you have to be, accurate. So you can make 4 5 mistakes, but not more than that. So if you're just, attempting 35 questions or 34 questions, then, ma'am, there is a lot of competition and you will be eliminated. So you have to attempt a good number of it also depends on difficulty level, but ma'am, in general I'm saying attempt
Hmm.
should be good and with accuracy.
True. So that is good that, okay, you were doing the new topics and you were also preparing, you were also revising the older topics that you have already covered. Now coming to the mocks, how important mock tests are for the phase 2 paper 2?
Yes, my mock tests are important. Once you have covered the syllabus, then try attempting the mock test, not before completing the syllabus, because ma'am, it degrades confidence.
Hmm.
So ma'am, it's like, see, some people, what they do is they will start writing the mock, and from there, they will start learning the content. But ma'am, this is not the right way. This will not lead to selection. You have to study the topics properly.
Hmm.
Once you study the topics, then go to EduTap sectional test. For example, if you have subscribed to the course, go to the sectional test, and not just go there. Your intention should be to be in the top 10. You show the rank of people who attempt the test. And once you have done that, do similar things for all the topics. Once you are covered with majority of the topics, then you can go for the mock test. So this should be the flow.
Okay, that is really nice strategy that you have told, that do not directly jump to the mock test. It will affect your confidence level also. So you can like study the material very well, especially the sectional test or the chapter wise test are very good. Like you have to attempt that so that you can understand that how much you have understood and how which topics or which context you have to understand, and then you can move forward with the mock test also. So now I think we have understood about the phase 2 also. And do you want to add anything before moving for the interview part?
No, ma'am. So it's like practicing MCQs are very important, ma'am. And in your sectional test, I mean, you have increased the number of questions, and they are good questions. So after reading the content, do practice some MCQs. It will show, any topic that we have missed, or we should look at the explanation. For Companies Act also similar kind, but in Companies Act MCQs becomes more important, ma'am, because it is very factual.
Hmm,
So if we practice it more, then it will help us, in retention. So
true.
this is
Okay, and now I think we can move forward with the interview part. So, how was the panel? How was your experience?
yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, actually, I did not give any mock interview
Okay,
because, ma'am, I feel that I felt that, ma'am, I already have the exposure.
yeah.
I already have the exposure. I don't panic in front of the panel members. I got 10 marks in SEBI interview also, ma'am, which was a good score.
Hmm,
So I thought, okay, let's not give any mock interview. Let's prepare on my own, prepare without any insight from anybody. I mean, I know what to do, what not to do. I started looking at the videos related to pension sector from speeches of PFRDA officers like Supratim Bandyopadhyay sir used to give lot of speeches and interviews on TV channels. So that was uploaded on YouTube, which helped me to gain perspective, understanding of what PFRD is trying to do,
hmm,
or we have what PFRD is doing at this point of time from a credible source.
hmm,
Then, ma'am, this is what I did. This is how I prepared. Now, panel members, ma'am, they were not that lenient in PFRDA and SEBI. Actually, ma'am, after interview, I realized that okay, the interview went fine, but in PFRDA, this was not the case. I mean, They were showing no expressions. They were very strict. So the chairman asked me a couple of questions, and I could not answer some of them. And he said, "Okay, now I'm done with him. I'm done." And then other people started asking. But ma'am, overall, I was confident, ma'am. I answered, majority of questions, and it continued for around 25 minutes. They asked questions from my work experience, and many questions from pension sector, ma'am, and it was fine. So ma'am, interview is all about interviews. Success in interview is a combination of knowledge as well as confidence. So these two things will help.
Okay. So, and were you focusing on the PFRDA website? Like usually before going for the interview, you focus on the website. So, is it the case with PFRDA also?
Yes, ma'am, we should be aware about the organization, what it does, what is its aim, objective. I read PFRD annual report properly, I mean, in a detailed manner, so that I have the data. So they asked me, I mean, what is the penetration of pension sector in India? Then I gave the data, and also I also talked about, for NPS it is this much, for APY it is this much. So I mean, when you have to present some facts, then there it becomes helpful.
Yes, true. And there were any other question from the like website specifically?
No, ma'am, not specifically from website, but they asked me, why, I mean, why it is important to develop pension sector, how
Okay.
can we increase the coverage of APY? So all those
Mm.
questions they asked me.
Okay. And how was the HR type questions?
HR type, they asked me initially that why you want to join PFRDA, why you left
Mhm.
ICIS and joined Cognizant. And then at the end, they asked me that we also do some training sessions. We train people about related to, the schemes that we administer, but you have technical knowledge, technical background. How will you be able to do it? So all these questions they asked me. Other than that, there was no HR question, ma'am. That what is your strength, weakness, all this they didn't ask.
Okay. And there were like you told that there were some job specific questions.
Yes,
So,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So they asked me questions from Basel norms because
okay.
I have work experience around that. Risk management, all those topics. They picked up topics. For example, one of
Mm.
the topic they asked me, okay, suppose if the credit rating of a country downgrades, what impact it will have on company, and
Okay.
something related to statistics and risk management, measuring it,
Okay.
value at risk, confidence level, all those things they asked me in the interview. And what else they asked? They asked couple of questions which I could not answer, ma'am. For example, they asked me some questions from some OECD report on pension sector, which I was not aware about.
Mm.
But ma'am, it was like they were trying to test. I mean, whether I am able to handle stress or not. They were trying to test it, but I was calm. It's because it's not that, ma'am. It's like, ma'am, even in any interview that appear, even in SEBI, it was like that. But in SEBI, I got to know after leaving the room that okay, it was fine.
Fine.
But here, ma'am, it was very unpredictable. Ma'am. I was not sure what would happen, but
Okay.
it was fine at the end.
Yeah. So, like coming to how were you able to say no, I don't know the answer, or what was your answer for the question which you were not able to answer?
Yes, ma'am. So I said that, sir, I'm not aware about it. He asked question from OECD report, ma'am. So I'll tell you one thing. So what happened is, there was I gave one example that some countries like Denmark, Australia, I gave some examples, have pension sector penetration of more than 100%. So the panel member said, are you sure whether Denmark has more than 100%? Then I thought I got caught. I said, okay, I think, sir, it should be at least more than 50%. So he said, are you sure? Then I thought, okay, I got caught. Then he said that, okay, if you're not sure about it, don't mention. Then he asked, what is adequacy of pension? So this I was not aware of. So I thought, I told the panel members, okay, sir, can I make a guess? Then he said that, okay, no, you are not allowed to do that here. So this was, on the downside. I don't know how they took it, but this is something that I didn't like after the interview got over. It was coming to my mind that this should not have happened. So this was the downside. Otherwise, all remaining part was quite good.
Okay. So the facts that you do not remember, you should not be mentioning that. So this is
Yes,
what I
ma'am.
learned
Yes,
from
ma'am.
here.
Yes, ma'am.
Any like now I think we are towards the end of the session. Any message for the aspirants?
Yes, ma'am. So, prepare holistically. I mean, so as I said, ma'am, preparing from MCQs won't help. We have to go through the topics. Don't have multiple sources, to keep your sources confined. So, for example, for me, EduTap was the source, and I relied on it, and it is, curated in a very proper manner. So, keep sources limited, and also our selection is also a function of time that we spend on subjects. So it's not that you just studied for a month and you thought I will be able to clear or I will not be able to clear. We will have to, we cannot compress time, so we have to spend sufficient amount of time, so in order to get success in examination.
That's true. And seeing such a calm and happy person, we can say, like your personality is quite calm. So that is really good to see that now you have become the officer and now you will be working in PFRDA. So congratulations and all the very best for the future. And it is so good to see that such persons are going, such people are going to such prestigious institutions to work for our benefit, we can say. So thank you so much, Ajay, for coming, and it was really nice having you. It was really fun talking with you. Like, it was an awesome interview, I can say. It was really good for me also to be hearing from you.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. My pleasure.
Thank you so much, Ajay.
Okay, ma'am.